Please join me in welcoming on the stage the Managing Director at HCPP, Mr. Yamen Zein from UAE. Thank you.
Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon to you all, and I hope you have been enjoying your conference so far. It's a pleasure to see that many HR professionals, and for a first event of this caliber in Kuwait, I hope this is the beginning of building a community of HR professionals here. The topic I want to talk to you about today is something that we're all experiencing at a personal or at a professional level or at both levels. So I want to start with a question, if the clicker works. Clicker not working. Can we move to the next slide? Okay. So who uses AI? Okay. Keep your hands up if you use AI professionally. Professionally as in work. Okay. What about keep your hand up if you have a policy for AI at the workplace? Okay. So we just need the clicker to, sorry. Okay, there we go. So why did I ask this question? AI is not regulated as of yet. The use of AI is not regulated. So what I want to take you through today is some of the success stories, some of the data that we have from the market, global market, and our region in specific. And this is not by any way to tell you that this is what will work for you. This is your use case. But let's just get into the habit of sharing knowledge together. This is something fairly new in the workplace, right? So let's get into the habit of sharing, learning together. And maybe this is something Sami can do. Create that community where you exchange knowledge about how you use AI differently. As we know, the world we live in, we have a lot of expectations from HR. This has been the case for the past decade or so, but what happened is that when COVID came, it accelerated this, and now we're like on the accelerated mode since then, and there's a lot of things happening at the workplace, a lot of changes, a lot of technologies, and it's up to us to keep up with the technologies. And this is creating a bit of a burden for HR, right? Now, we need to be able to live up to those challenges. We heard some great keynotes, we heard some great discussions from panels, and it's our job to try and make our workplaces successful and our people successful. And AI is a great tool to help us in this regard. Some of the reasons why, obviously, we're using AI and organizations are encouraging the use of AI is because it boosts productivity, it enhances effectiveness and efficiency at the workplace, and it saves time. And time is money. And the AI as a tool, it integrates into systems. It integrates into different organizational systems that you might have. It also can be a personal tool that you use on your own if you're not looking at the integrated part. So it can either integrate with your softwares, it can either be used by you individually. So that's where the power lies. A lot of the systems and platforms we have today are AI empowered or powered by AI. I'm talking about talent acquisition systems. I'm talking about employee engagement platforms. I'm talking about learning and development systems. So what does some of the global data tells us? And this is from a couple of years. So I'm sure this is done by Mercer, a study done by Mercer. How is the global adoption of AI? 88% of the companies in the survey worldwide, they were using AI in some form. 56% enable employees to look up information using chatbots like ChatGPT or so on. 44% identify the best candidates through AI. And 43% provide learning recommendations through AI, 40% engage with candidates through AI. That's on a global scale, yeah? This is a study by Mercer. You can download it from their website. Now, recently, SHRM launched a study for the GCC to understand how does HR and AI look like in the region. And as part of this research, they shared some research done by OpenAI, who are the operators of ChatGPT, and the University of Pennsylvania. Look at what's happening here on this graph. We're saying 80% of the jobs in the market today are impacted by introducing HR. 80% of these roles. Out of these 80%, 19% will see 50% of their tasks affected. Yeah? And if we jump just into like the graphic of how today looks like, we have jobs that are transactional in the black. These are the jobs that will be most impacted. And we as HR professional, we need to be very much aware of the fact, because we have a lot of people sitting here, don't we? What will we do with these people? How will we transition them? We have some relational jobs that require human experience, and these jobs will still be manned by humans mostly, but they will have an impact. AI will empower these roles. And we have the expertise roles. People like, for example, who are subject matter expert, globally renowned, the researchers, and so on. These two jobs will be empowered by AI. Yeah? So the output, the human output out of these jobs will increase. But here, what we're seeing is there's a significant shrinkage in the transactional jobs. So a challenge we have for HR professionals is how will we prepare for this future, this very near future? This is an estimation that by 2027, which is just a couple of years away. And we need to decide already, when we do this shift, how will we transition people in the organization? And how will this transition look like? And what are some of the jobs that can be a bit more on the human and relational level or expertise level where we can use these people? Yeah? So as per the survey conducted in the GCC, we have 46% of the respondents reporting that data analytics and decision making is seen as having the top business priority when it comes to AI. Now this sounds good, but I'll show you something that's very weird and contradicting in a second. So we're saying we're using AI for data analysis, which is great. AI has facilitated data analysis for all of us. Not all of us are statisticians, right? And most of us studied analytics and research and that sort of thing back at the university. And if you ask someone today, I want you to do an analysis on data for me, unless you have a statistician on the team, might be difficult. Well, not any longer with AI. AI has empowered everyone to do the form of analytics that is required for the workplace. In terms of hurdles for implementing AI, 35% of respondents, particularly from manufacturing and heavy industries, reported difficulties in integration. So while this is mostly in heavy industries, I want you to think about your systems today. Are they geared up for the future? Do they have API integration with AI software? Do you have new systems that accept the usage of AI? That might be a challenge for you. Readiness to embrace and leverage AI. This is an interesting metric. So you have 33.5% of organizations believing that their HR team are equipped to deal with the changing landscape. And 43% of the respondents saying they've identified digital literacy as a key top HR priority. HR professionals need to learn how to use technology properly because this is the future. What this tells us is that there's a lot of focus on us leading the way in the organization so that we can be advocates for the use of technology, right? And if you want to encourage the use of technology, you need to know about how to use technology yourself first. Lead by example, sort of a thing. Now, this is the interesting metric I wanted to share with you. These are the list of HR investment priorities that we have seen in the report as part of looking at AI, integration of AI in the workplace. What's number 10? The same thing that was reported earlier, that people are comfortable that AI is doing. Now, if you inspect this a bit closer, it's either one of two things. We're either overconfident that we're already doing enough, or we really don't know where our priorities should lie. And again, I know I was introduced as someone who believes in data and a data advocate, and I am. But the fact that people think of data analysis so low on the list is a bit alarming. Because I can tell you for now, if we're under the impression that we're doing enough, we're not doing enough. In terms of implementing AI in HR, some of the main concerns and challenges of organization lie in data privacy and cybersecurity issues. And this is something you need to be aware of as well, because at the organizational level, we talked about systems that are AI empowered. These are usually vetted by our IT department, and they have control to say what goes in and what doesn't go into the organization. Problem is, when somebody uses ChatGPT, do you know how your data is used? Anyone? Do you know what ChatGPT is allowed to do with your data? Okay, I have a couple of hands. Couple. Yeah. So ChatGPT can use your data to train and to regurgitate some of this data in other platforms when people ask other questions. So that's the kind of risk you're facing. Yeah? You're giving ChatGPT a license to do that when you agree to use ChatGPT. So just think about that for a second. Therefore, you see a lot of organizations now saying, no Gemini, no ChatGPT. Let's use, for example, something like Copilot. It's safer. It's vetted for organizational use. So this is a key concern that you should worry about. Integration with existing systems we talked about. Employee resistance is another big thing. Now, it's a reality that some of the roles will be eliminated because of AI. The purely task-oriented roles will be eliminated. However, we want to pitch AI as an empowerment tool, as an enabling tool. How do you do that when jobs are being eliminated? So that's something you should think about. How can I make sure that my employees understand that AI can empower their roles, and maybe those task-oriented roles, they can be a bit more elevated to work on other more strategic things and support your wider team rather than focusing on the daily work, the mundane things that AI can replace. So that's a burden on HR. Lack of understanding of tool adoption. How well are you gearing your teams to work with AI? Your IT team knows how to handle the platform at the organizational level. But what about your day-to-day users, those skepticals who don't believe that AI empowers them, but AI is there to threaten them and take their jobs? Again, getting these people on board and getting them to use AI effectively lies with HR. High implementation and adoption costs. This is a concern. However, if you can use AI effectively, there are some free platforms, at least for people that can use, but there are ways to circumvent, if you will, the security concerns, such as, for example, not feeding specific organizational information, getting your tasks done, getting what you want done, but not feeding specific information. So the adoption of IT doesn't have to be costly. And there are many organizations that are offering easy-to-use solutions that are cost-effective as well. And there are many tools, and you need to test and see which tool is suitable for which type of role. For example, if I want to talk about a personal level, I use 3 different AI tools for 3 different purposes. Yeah? And each of these, they have a different package, a different experience, a different cost. And I need to make sure that I have the business case, again, going back to data. Why do I need to invest in AI and how it will empower and what's the return on investment I'll get from using AI? Another interesting metric is that we said 33% said they're ready, but another 33% they're not. So it's split 1/3 against 1/3. How do we get people, HR people who are not well equipped, up to where they should be so that AI adoption in the organization works, so that we are advocates of AI utilization? And think about investing in your HR team. Maybe you, as a head of department or as a manager, you have the knowledge, but what about your team members? Let's start at home, where the HR team is, because we're supposed to be the organizational leaders that are promoting the use of AI. And as we look at the requisite skills for HR, as I mentioned earlier, 43% see digital literacy as a must. So enough with the statistics. Just wanted to give you a glimpse on what was deemed important in the region. And this survey actually was done in Kuwait as well. Now, I want to go back to something Jassim said yesterday in the panel discussion, if you attended the panel discussion about employee experience. And he said something very powerful that applies in the AI sector as well. The employee life cycle has many touch points. One thing you can do immediately is start looking at, if you're using AI, where are you using it in the life cycle? And where are the other opportunities of integration across the life cycle? And here you have some on screen. I will not go through, but I'll share with you specific examples on particular areas within the employee life cycle and how some organizations are globally using HR in the region and globally. So also think about mapping the journey of your employee experience and where does AI augment, enhance your work. So let's look at some admin tasks. One of the most used cases for AI in the total reward space is payroll processing. Now, payroll processing itself is an administrative activity. It has a lot of value, it is critical, but it's not strategic, it's purely operational. So when you automate your payroll process, if you have an ERP that integrates with AI and it does the calculations for you, takes all the leaves, the checks and balances, and does the work for you, you have an opportunity here to turn your payroll team into a total rewards team. People who do research and look at the market and the industry norms. You can uplift that team and relieve them from this technical aspect to focus on something more strategic. Employee data management, leaves, applications, performance reminders, etc. All of this is being done using AI for companies that have adopted AI. Answering employee queries. You have a workforce of 500 people. Daily you have about, 120 queries or something more. Getting these queries answered by chatbots is very effective. You can train these chatbots. I've been part of 2 implementations of such chatbots where we uploaded the policy, trained the AI on how to answer specific questions, and we keep on feeding and it keeps on improving. And some people now think AI is an actual person if they don't know that you have an AI avatar that actually does the answering. A very famous use case, write-ups. You're in a meeting. You had a lot of people chipping in, coming up with ideas and whatnot, and you've recorded all of that. You can upload that recording to AI and get minutes of what happened. That's a very common use. Summarizing meeting discussions. For example, helping you write emails, professional emails. Somebody said yesterday, I forgot too, that AI has more emotional intelligence than people. I think it was Andre, if I'm not mistaken. So Andre said AI has more emotional intelligence. And actually, I'll use this to demonstrate a case for me personally. I get triggered, yeah, and when I get triggered, I put my anger on a keyboard. I don't send it. I just need to let it off my system and cool back and come back. But somebody sometimes pushes your buttons way too much, and you take time to cool down, right? In that case, that's my partner. Like, fix me. I'm upset. I'm trying to say this, but all I can think of is hashtag, question mark, exclamation mark. So help me make that a human message. Very common use for AI. And I want you to think about, when we're talking about all these uses, how much time it saves you. Generating images. This image, for example, is generated through Flux, which is an AI program that is just focused on generating images and photos, right? If I could expand it, you'll see how realistic it is. And this helps you, for example, with your training. You want to have a picture of something that you don't have, or you couldn't find on a stock photo website. You can actually generate it yourself. You can add graphics to your presentations. You can also do that for videos, yeah? Anyone uses Synthesia? Anyone knows what Synthesia is? Nope. Okay, Synthesia is one of the first AI tools that were introduced in the market, I think back in 2018 or something. It creates avatars, human avatars. It has a list of avatars you can choose from different diversity dimensions, and you can give them a voice. You can give them an accent, yeah? And you can turn yourself into an avatar. They send you a script, 6 minutes long, in English, and they can turn you into a Chinese-speaking avatar. A lot of organizations are using, for example, Synthesia to save time for their L&D professionals, like orientation programs. So they make the orientation with somebody actually who is an HR person in that organization, but the person is not actually wasting their time. It's a script just being uploaded. So again, think about the time you save from this. What can your team members do in this time? Now, in terms of talent acquisition, skill matching is a big one. I'm sure we all use it to some extent in the organization. Matching between what you want and the candidates that are applying to you. That's one use case. Role, culture, fitment, and growth within the organization. Again, assessing the potential of candidates who are applying to you. Candidate experience. Again, going back to the touch points of the employee experience, the candidate experience when they first join your organization. And bias elimination. As humans, we do have biases. Sometimes we see someone's face, we don't think that they will fit. Why? Because we built a stereotype in our heads, or we encourage our stereotypes to manifest. So AI can help you be a bit more realistic with that. If you have a tool of assessment, you can upload that tool, and it can do a fair assessment of all candidates without differentiation. Learning and development, tailored learning and development interventions per person. Again, understanding more about your employees, uploading that to the system, and then allowing it to suggest things. And whatever we're talking about here doesn't mean you have to follow exactly what is being suggested to you. We still want a human touch in the process. The human touch is extremely important. But at least it gives you ideas very quickly and without you having to make that mental extra effort in the beginning. Instructional design. A lot of organizations are now using it to develop content for their teams internally. Smart learning platforms. Platforms that have activities interjected into them, like simulations, like, for example, other activities, like in-basket assessments and whatnot. These are all supported by AI, and there's a lot of AI platforms that do that for you. Learning accelerators. For example, in IDPs, when you have somebody on an IDP and you want to be specific about this person, how can you accelerate their growth? AI can also give you an understanding of what is the best way you can take this candidate based on the results that they've been demonstrating. Enhanced self-paced learning. AI is a great tool for self-paced learning. I just talked about analysis for one thing. Let's say you have the data of your engagement, and you want to see if there's a correlation between age, tenure, and length of service. You don't know where to start. You can ask any of the LLMs or large language models that we have there, generative AI tools, and they will tell you, maybe this is better done as a multiple regression analysis. Okay, I don't know how to do that. How do I do that? This is a step-by-step guide. Okay, can you do it for me and teach me what you've done in each step? Yeah, it'll do that and it will teach you exactly. And the beauty of this is that you can verify. Yeah, you can always verify the output, which you must do because we will talk about some limitations. Now, a big thing about AI is that it should never be used for autopilot. Problem with AI starts when you use it as an autopilot thing. You do the work on my behalf, I'll sit on my desk, and you do the work for me. That doesn't work. Any idea why that doesn't work? Anyone would like to say what are some of the potential issues with that? Yeah, please. Absolutely. We talked a second ago that AI can help you eliminate biases. But we're saying now it can introduce biases. How? Absolutely. Thank you very much. AI is like a human. Machine learning is like a human. It learns by demoing the thing again and again, giving certain examples again and again, a use case again and again. This is how it gets trained. Now, if you have somebody who's, for example, has biases towards a certain group of people, and it's been trained, the AI module has been trained by the output of this person, it will show you these same biases when you make recruitment decisions. So this is one example of why you cannot rely on AI. Sometimes AI, because it can use others' information, it will use information that is not exactly relevant in your case. So you need to find the nuances. You need to audit AI, basically. One of the ways I've seen AI used very effectively in the employee engagement space is support sentiment analysis. And this was part of an organization I worked at in the GCC. Before you got to your desk every day, you had a small survey of a few questions. If it's your first time, the first two questions don't apply. You start from the third question. The first question was, how was your day yesterday? What did you achieve? Did you get the support you need from the management? Are you satisfied with the outcome of yesterday? How are you doing today? What do you need? What support do you need today? And that's it. Very small survey. It takes you barely 1 minute to finish. And then based on the outcome, it analyzes what is happening with a particular person. And then based on this analysis, alarms go to the manager, alarms go to HR that this person is not getting support. And using also this scale that you see, which is called the mood elevator, it asks you to rank your mood. This was explained to the entire organization, what each of these moods mean. And if you're in the red, stressed, burned out, it also triggers alarms to your manager and to HR that this person, for the second consecutive day, he's reporting or she's reporting that they are burned out. Interfere, intervene, ask them, have a session with them. And it's linked to a system where the manager is tracked. If the manager doesn't tick that they scheduled a meeting with a person, it escalates automatically to HR after 2 days. Yeah? What is the result of that? We got to know much more about our workforce. We got to fix some of the issues before they become systemic and they drive people to leave the organization. enhancing well-being of employees. In the case of, for example, what we mentioned, you're saving time from your teams. Question to you, what will you do with the extra time? Will you use this extra time to make them work more? Or will you use it, thank you, or will you use this time to balance work and life, to help them with a work-life balance? So such decisions, you can also use AI to help you with these decisions. Empowering smart office spaces. It started with organizations like Cisco, but now it's very commonly used. You either have an app on your phone or on your smart device, or a tag, and when you move with the tag, your preferences move with you, and you have an open office space. Wherever you sit in the office actually adapts to you. You like the AC to be warmish, you will like the AC to be cold, you like the lighting in a certain way, so all of that can be embedded also with the use of AI. Now, it's not all rosy, right? Everything has ups and downs. One big issue is plagiarism. When you use AI to produce output, it's easy to steal the work of others in your organization and claim that it's yours by paraphrasing. And this has been happening and has been caught on. Also, some organizations reported other organizations plagiarizing their work in a similar way. There are legal repercussions on this, and as we mentioned, AI is still not yet regulated. So you need to be very judicious as you use AI. Using AI tools for deepfake. Now, deepfake, for example, Synthesia that I mentioned earlier, is a good way of using deepfake because you're educating your team, and this is actually being done in a non-malicious way. But think about a smearing campaign of a manager you don't like in the business. That's a possibility. You can actually use the same platforms, and now it's very much democratized because there's a lot of platforms that produce videos. If you hate your manager, you can take a few pictures of him, train AI, and show your manager doing something completely unacceptable socially. These cases have happened, actually. So how would you react as HR? What sort of policies do you put to limit the utilization of AI in such a way? And how fast can you respond? Misinformation. AI hallucinates. AI sometimes spells out details that don't exist in life. And I'll give you an example from 2 weeks ago. I was using AI to help me design a course. I was like, I need you to give me an example on so-and-so case. And it gave me actually a very good example on IBM and something that IBM has done in employee engagement. And I was like, interesting, where can I find this case study? I want to read more about it. Gave me a broken link, okay? Again, a broken link. Again, a broken link. It was like, dude, what's wrong? You're giving me broken links. I think there might be an issue, so try to copy this link and go there. I ended up Googling the thing. Never happened in life. And I went back to, I was using ChatGPT, not to take a shot at ChatGPT, but here's the thing. I was like, dude, this case doesn't exist. Oh, I think it might be a confusion at my end. Sorry. That's the reply I got. So you need to verify what you're getting out of AI. You really cannot trust. So this is misinformation. Now, disinformation, when the use of AI becomes intentionally to throw you off and give you wrong information. So also, how do you respond to these issues? Complacency and over-reliance on AI is another big issue. The problem with over-reliance on AI is that you lose your requisite skills as a human being. If you're able to perform a job, if you over-rely on AI, you don't update yourself, what happens is that you will lose the ability to do this job over time, right? We all know how to light fire because we need to know how to light fire in case we find ourselves in a situation where we need to light fire and there's no one but us around, right? Same thing here. You need to keep yourself updated, invested in your learning, and use AI as an empowerment tool, enabling tool, not as an alternative to you making the effort. Resistance to adoptions and fear of elimination. We talked about about this and how HR is responsible for being advocates for AI, and the risk of underlying biases, which we've also addressed. All of these are particular risks that we engage in as we use AI more and more. And of course, ultimately, you lose control. If you let AI dictate everything that you're doing, you lose control over it, and you don't get accuracy information, and you might get into a whole mess. There are some ethical considerations when we use AI. Transparency, accountability, and human oversight is one we talked about. Addressing the biases in the workplace, and data privacy and security. These challenges are real, and we still don't have any regulation that helps us with these things. So you need to craft your own policies. You need to prepare your teams, HR teams, to address these challenges as and when they happen. Now, what are the things that, when we talk about the future, how we will use AI, what are some of the things that we need to ensure we focus on? Use it as a tool to help you drive actions that support this strategy. Again, very easy to upload documents to an AI platform and ask for references. What do you think I should do? This is what I have in mind. It's a good bouncing partner, a good thought-provoking partner. Enhance, augment, change, or eliminate. What will you do with your roles? And helping you map the future of how your roles will look like in the organization also depends on what you do with the transition of skills. What are the skills that need to be changed? What are the things that people need to be upskilled on, reskilled on, and so on? And eliminate is your last resort if you need to eliminate something, but think about the transition of people in this role as well. Balancing the AI with a human touch, making sure that there are ethical decisions that are being audited by people, and that people are accountable for these decisions, and agility and change management. Like everything we do in an organization, the integration of AI is a change management process. These are tips to where to get started when it comes to teaching someone new what to do with AI. And while I said there are many tools that you can use for AI, and we encourage people to experiment with generative AI because it's designed to mimic human language, right? So encourage people to do their own research and try different prompts and different ways of doing things. But there are some foundations that we can use. For example, if you're generating a video or a photo for your training or whatnot, this is a safe methodology to get as accurate as you can get to your desired outcome. And for anything else, HR, business-oriented, you can use align. So focus and align, and they stand for different things. When you divide your prompts into something that is clear, you get clearer results. Yeah? And what we're trying to do here is not to force these ways, but just to help people who are hesitant, who don't know where to start, encourage them to have normal conversations and see how things go. And you can give them these tips as they try to improve and get better results from AI. So that's all I have to share with you. And I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any from the audience. Okay, thank you very much.